Andy Wood, Director and Founder of VTC Tax. Welcome to you.
Thank you.
Andy, we're going to try this morning to try and shed some light on some of the terms perhaps inland revenue use.
Okay.
And at the same time clarify some of the tax issues that surround property matters.
Sure.
So do bear with me if I have to ask you to re-explain anything, because
That's
I think,
no problem at all.
like a lot of our viewers, it confuses me terribly. But I think if we can start off with some of the sort of terminology, and let's take as the starting point, we have for many, many years been able to sell our properties that we own as our home tax-free, irrespective of the amount of profit we make.
Yeah.
And that's been a substantial profit in some cases, and especially in the London area. But what differentiates selling your home, taking a profit, from trading in property? What's the differential?
Okay, I suppose in terms of property and tax, there are two main funnels in which you can go down. First is an investment activity. The second is is where you're carrying out a trading activity, the definition of a trading activity can be further broken down into two other sort of subsets:
All right,
developing and dealing.
Let's just hold it there though for a minute. Let's first of all talk about our own home. So I sell my home, I make a profit, I can keep the profit tax-free.
Yeah.
So what happens if I do that 3, 4, 5, 6 times? Does that become trading?
Well, it's interesting because generally speaking, purchasing your own home falls into the first of those two categories I mentioned. It is technically an investment. It just so happens that if you occupy that property as your main residence, you get something called main residence relief or principal private residence relief. Now, there's nothing at all to stop you buying a property. You could make some substantial improvements and enhancements to that property, make a significant profit on sale. If you have lived in that property as your main residence, you will get the relief. There's nothing then to stop you doing the same again and the same again. The key is that you are occupying it as your main residence, and where your occupation, although it does, the key point isn't the length of your occupation, it's the quality of your occupation. Quite clearly, if you were doing this every 3 to 6 months, HMRC would show an interest, but it is the quality rather than the quantity really of your occupation that's key.
So I suppose effectively, to simplify it, I suppose there needs to be a story, doesn't there? So,
Yes, yeah.
So for instance, you have a family, you want a bigger property, fine. You have another addition to your family and you move on and again, so even if that's in a fairly short space of time, that would be legitimate moving, wouldn't it, and changing of your main residence.
And tax is always about intentions and objectives. The UK tax system is more based on your activity, your intention, than it is necessarily on the type of asset that you're dealing with. And property tax is a good example of that. We don't have an all-encompassing property tax.
Right.
It is what you are doing with that property, which is the key thing for tax purposes, and it comes back to the point we're making before about something being an investment, something being trading.